1. The Shifting Sands. The sun cast its golden rays over the ancient city of Etera, a place steeped in mystery and legend. The city, built atop the ruins of a forgotten civilization, was a mosaic of crumbling stone walls, towering spires, and bustling marketplaces. But amidst the vibrant life of Etera, there lay a secret known only to a few, the Eternal Labyrinth. Arin, a seasoned adventurer with a sharp mind and a keen eye, stood at the edge of the city, staring at the entrance to the labyrinth. He had heard tales of the labyrinth's ever-changing pathways, its hidden treasures, and the legendary artifact said to reside at its heart. This artifact, according to legend, possessed the power to change the world or destroy it. Arin's heart raced as he stepped closer to the entrance. The labyrinth's stone archway loomed before him, adorned with intricate carvings that seemed to move and shift in the sunlight. He reached out to touch the cool stone, feeling a strange energy pulse beneath his fingers. This was no ordinary maze. Taking a deep breath, Arin recalled the old map he had found in the city's archives. It depicted the labyrinth's entrance but offered no clues about the paths within. Each dawn, the labyrinth reconfigured itself, presenting a new challenge to any who dared to enter. Arin knew that the key to navigating the labyrinth lay not in maps, but in keen observation and quick thinking. As he crossed the threshold, the world seemed to shift around him. The bustling sounds of Etera faded, replaced by an eerie silence. The labyrinth's walls, tall and imposing, stretched into the distance. Arin felt a chill run down his spine, but he pressed on, determined to uncover the labyrinth's secrets. The first corridor led to a wide chamber filled with sand. The shifting sands, Arin thought, recalling the stories. This area was notorious for its ever-changing terrain, where the ground could shift and swallow a man whole. Arin treaded carefully, his eyes scanning the ground for any signs of movement. As he ventured deeper into the chamber, the sand began to stir. Patterns emerged, forming swirling shapes that danced around his feet. Arin realized that these patterns were not random, they were guiding him. He followed the shifting sands, watching as they revealed a path forward. His journey was interrupted by the sound of a distant rumble. The ground trembled, and the sands began to churn violently. Arin knew he had to move quickly. He sprinted across the chamber, leaping over shifting dunes and dodging collapsing sand pits. His heart pounded in his chest as he reached the other side, where a narrow passage awaited. Breathing heavily, Arin glanced back at the shifting sands. The chamber had returned to its calm state, as if nothing had happened. He marveled at the labyrinth's design, realizing that every challenge was a test of wit and agility. The narrow passage led to another chamber, this one lined with ancient murals depicting the history of the labyrinth. Arin paused to examine them, his curiosity piqued. The murals told the story of the labyrinth's creators, a civilization that had harnessed powerful magic to protect their greatest treasures. Arin felt a connection to these ancient people, sharing their thirst for knowledge and discovery. As he continued his journey, Arin's thoughts turned to the artifact. What kind of power did it hold? And why had it been hidden away in this labyrinth? He knew that the answers lay ahead, waiting to be uncovered. For now, Arin focused on the task at hand. He had survived the shifting sands, but the labyrinth held many more challenges. With each step, he ventured deeper into the unknown, driven by a relentless desire to unlock the secrets of the Eternal Labyrinth. And so, Arin's journey began, in the heart of an ancient city, within a maze that defied logic and reason. The adventure of a lifetime awaited, and Arin was ready to face whatever the labyrinth had in store. 2. The Maze of Mirrors. Arin's steps echoed softly as he ventured deeper into the labyrinth. The narrow passageway he had entered after escaping the shifting sands opened into a vast, dimly lit chamber. His torch flickered, casting long shadows that danced along the stone walls. The air was cool, and an uneasy silence pervaded the space, broken only by the sound of his own breathing. The chamber was unlike any Arin had seen before. The walls were lined with mirrors, each one polished to a perfect shine. As he moved forward, his reflection multiplied, creating an illusion of countless versions of himself walking alongside him. The effect was dizzying, and Arin paused to steady himself, focusing on the task at hand. "The maze of mirrors," he muttered, recalling the tales he had heard. This section of the labyrinth was infamous for its disorienting effects and the illusions it created. Arin knew he had to keep his wits about him if he were to find his way through. He began to walk cautiously, his eyes scanning the mirrors for any signs of danger. The reflections seemed to warp and shift, creating strange and unsettling images. In one mirror, he saw himself as an old man, worn and weary from years of exploration. In another, he was a young boy, full of wonder and curiosity. The mirrors seemed to reflect not just his physical appearance, but his very essence. Arin's thoughts were interrupted by a soft whisper. He turned, but saw nothing but his own reflections. The whisper came again, this time more insistent. It seemed to be coming from the mirrors themselves. He stepped closer to one of them, trying to make sense of the sound. "Who are you?" he asked aloud, his voice echoing in the chamber. The mirror's surface rippled, and an image began to form. It was not his own reflection, but that of a stranger. The figure was tall and cloaked in shadow, with eyes that seemed to pierce through the glass. Arin's heart raced as he realized he was not alone in the labyrinth. "Who are you?" he repeated, his voice steady despite his fear. The figure in the mirror did not respond directly. Instead, it pointed to the left, indicating a path that Arin had not noticed before. He hesitated, unsure whether to trust the mysterious apparition. But something in the figure's eyes convinced him to follow the direction it indicated. Arin turned and walked towards the left, entering a narrow corridor lined with even more mirrors. The reflections continued to shift and change, but he kept his focus on the path ahead. The corridor twisted and turned, creating a confusing maze of glass and shadows. As he navigated the maze, Arin began to notice patterns in the mirrors. Some showed scenes from his past, while others hinted at possible futures. He saw himself triumphing over challenges, but also succumbing to the labyrinth's dangers. The images were a stark reminder of the stakes involved in his quest. Suddenly, the corridor opened into a larger chamber. In the center stood a pedestal, upon which rested a small, intricately carved box. Arin approached cautiously, his eyes scanning the room for any signs of traps. The mirrors here were different, their surfaces dull and opaque, as if hiding their secrets. Arin reached out and touched the box. It was cool to the touch, and he could feel a faint hum of energy emanating from it. Carefully, he opened the lid, revealing a small, glowing gem inside. The gem pulsed with a soft, ethereal light, and Arin felt a surge of power as he held it in his hand. Before he could examine it further, the chamber began to shake. The mirrors vibrated violently, and cracks appeared in their surfaces. Arin realized he had triggered some kind of mechanism. He had to move quickly. Clutching the gem, he sprinted back through the maze, retracing his steps with the help of his reflections. The corridors twisted and turned, but Arin's memory and keen sense of direction guided him. As he reached the entrance to the maze of mirrors, he glanced back one last time. The mysterious figure in the mirror was gone, leaving him with more questions than answers. Emerging from the maze, Arin found himself in a new part of the labyrinth. The air here was warmer, and the sound of flowing water echoed in the distance. He took a moment to catch his breath, his thoughts racing. The gem he had found was clearly important, but its true significance remained a mystery. Determined to uncover the labyrinth's secrets, Arin pressed on, his resolve stronger than ever. The maze of mirrors had tested his mind and spirit, but he knew that greater challenges lay ahead. With each step, he ventured deeper into the unknown, ready to face whatever the labyrinth had in store. The adventure continued, and Arin's journey through the Eternal Labyrinth was far from over. 3. The Hall of Echoes. Arin's journey through the Eternal Labyrinth continued as he ventured into the next chamber, leaving the maze of mirrors behind. The faint sound of flowing water grew louder, guiding him through a narrow passageway that opened into a grand hall. The Hall of Echoes, as it was known in the ancient texts, awaited him. The hall was a vast, cavernous space, its walls lined with ornate carvings and tapestries that told the story of the labyrinth's creation. A river of crystal-clear water flowed through the center, its gentle current creating a soothing, melodic sound that resonated throughout the chamber. The air was filled with a sense of ancient power, and Arin could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. As he stepped forward, his footsteps echoed eerily, and he realized the hall was aptly named. Each sound seemed to multiply and reverberate, creating an almost hypnotic effect. Arin paused, taking in the grandeur of the hall, his eyes scanning for any clues or hidden dangers. The carvings on the walls depicted scenes of a long-lost civilization, their faces serene and wise. They showed the construction of the labyrinth, the binding of powerful magic, and the placement of the artifact at its core. Arin felt a deep connection to these ancient people, their quest for knowledge mirroring his own. As he moved deeper into the hall, he noticed a series of stone pillars arranged in a circular pattern around a central platform. Each pillar was engraved with runes that glowed faintly in the dim light. Arin approached the platform, sensing that this was an important part of the labyrinth's puzzle. Standing in the center of the platform, Arin examined the runes closely. They seemed to form a pattern, but he couldn't decipher their meaning. He reached out to touch one of the pillars, and as his fingers brushed against the stone, a voice echoed through the hall. "Who seeks the truth of the labyrinth?" Arin spun around, searching for the source of the voice. But he was alone. The voice seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves, an ethereal presence that filled the hall. "I am Arin," he replied, his voice steady. "I seek the artifact and the knowledge it holds." The voice responded, its tone both welcoming and foreboding. "Many have sought the artifact, but few have been worthy. To proceed, you must prove your understanding of the labyrinth's history and purpose." Arin nodded, ready for whatever challenge lay ahead. The runes on the pillars began to glow brighter, and the carvings on the walls seemed to come to life. Scenes played out before him, showing the trials and tribulations of those who had built the labyrinth. The voice continued, guiding him through the history. The labyrinth was created to protect the artifact, a source of immense power. Only those who can navigate its secrets and understand its lessons may claim it. Arin watched as the images showed the fall of the ancient civilization, their knowledge lost to time. He felt a pang of sadness for their fate, but also a renewed determination to uncover their legacy. As the voice fell silent, the runes on the pillars shifted, forming a new pattern. Arin studied them carefully, realizing that they held the key to the next part of his journey. He traced the runes with his fingers, aligning them in the correct sequence. With a soft click, the central platform began to rise, revealing a hidden staircase descending into the depths of the labyrinth. Taking a deep breath, Arin stepped onto the staircase. The air grew cooler as he descended, and the echoes of the hall faded into silence. The staircase wound downward, its steps worn smooth by countless feet. Arin's torch cast flickering shadows on the walls, illuminating ancient markings that hinted at further trials ahead. Reaching the bottom of the staircase, Arin found himself in a smaller chamber. The walls were lined with shelves filled with scrolls and books, a veritable treasure trove of ancient knowledge. He felt a thrill of excitement as he realized he had discovered the labyrinth's library. Arin carefully examined the scrolls, their delicate parchment covered in intricate script. Many were written in languages he did not recognize, but a few were in the common tongue. He read eagerly, absorbing tales of magic, exploration, and discovery. Each scroll added a piece to the puzzle, helping him understand the labyrinth's true purpose. One scroll in particular caught his eye. It spoke of the Guardian's trial, a test that awaited those who sought the artifact. The trial required not just physical prowess, but also wisdom and courage. Arin knew that this was his next challenge. Armed with newfound knowledge, Arin left the library and continued his journey. The Hall of Echoes had revealed its secrets, and he felt more prepared than ever to face the trials ahead. As he ventured deeper into the labyrinth, he carried with him the hopes and dreams of the ancient civilization, determined to uncover the truth and claim the artifact for the future. The adventure continued, with each step bringing Arin closer to the heart of the Eternal Labyrinth and the destiny that awaited him. 4. The Chamber of Whispers. Descending from the Hall of Echoes, Arin found himself enveloped in a profound silence. The air grew colder, and a feeling of unease crept over him. He held his torch high, the flickering light casting eerie shadows on the walls of the narrow passage. As he ventured forward, the passage opened into another chamber, even more enigmatic than those he had encountered before. The Chamber of Whispers lay before him, a vast, dimly lit expanse where the walls seemed to shimmer and ripple like the surface of a disturbed pond. It was as if the very air was alive with secrets. Arin felt a shiver run down his spine as he stepped inside, his footsteps muffled by the thick carpet of dust that covered the floor. Almost immediately, he heard it, the faint, indistinct murmuring of voices. They seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, a cacophony of whispers that filled the chamber. Arin strained to make out the words, but they remained just beyond his grasp, elusive and maddeningly vague. The Chamber of Whispers, Arin whispered to himself, recalling the warnings he had read in the labyrinth's library. This place was said to be filled with the voices of those who had failed to complete the labyrinth's trials, their spirits trapped forever, offering cryptic advice or sowing seeds of doubt in the minds of those who followed. As he moved further into the chamber, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. Arin felt a surge of apprehension but pressed on, knowing that this was another test he had to overcome. He tried to focus, blocking out the distractions, but the voices seemed to worm their way into his mind, filling it with doubts and fears. "Turn back," one voice hissed, barely audible but unmistakable. "You cannot succeed." "Why do you seek the artifact?" another voice questioned, its tone accusatory. "What will you do with such power?" Arin shook his head, trying to clear his thoughts. He knew that he had to remain strong, to stay focused on his goal. The artifact held the key to understanding the ancient civilization, to unlocking secrets that had been buried for centuries. He could not afford to let these whispers deter him. Determined, he continued to explore the chamber, his eyes scanning for any clues or markings that might guide him. The walls, upon closer inspection, were covered in intricate carvings and symbols, many of which seemed to pulse with a faint, otherworldly light. Arin traced the patterns with his fingers, feeling a strange energy emanating from them. Suddenly, a particularly loud whisper caught his attention. It was clearer than the others, almost as if it were directed specifically at him. "Follow the light," it said, the words cutting through the murmur like a knife. Arin looked around, searching for any sign of light. There, in the far corner of the chamber, he saw it, a faint, flickering glow. He moved toward it, his heart pounding in his chest. As he approached, he saw that the light was emanating from a small, intricately carved lantern set into the wall. The lantern's flame flickered softly, casting a gentle illumination over a section of the carvings. Leaning in closer, Arin examined the carvings in the light of the lantern. They depicted a series of scenes, much like the murals in the Hall of Echoes, but these were different. They showed individuals facing their fears, overcoming obstacles, and ultimately finding their way through the labyrinth. The final image was of a figure holding a glowing artifact, a look of triumph on their face. Arin felt a surge of hope as he realized that these carvings were meant to guide him. The message was clear: he had to confront his own fears and doubts, to push past the whispers and find his own path. The light of the lantern was a beacon, a symbol of the clarity and determination he needed to navigate this treacherous place. Taking a deep breath, Arin turned away from the lantern and faced the chamber once more. The whispers were still there, still trying to undermine his resolve, but he felt a newfound strength within him. He could do this. He would not be swayed by doubt or fear. With renewed determination, Arin moved through the chamber, following the symbols and patterns that seemed to guide his way. The voices continued to whisper, but he paid them no mind, focusing instead on the task at hand. Each step brought him closer to the heart of the labyrinth, closer to the artifact that awaited him. Finally, he reached the far end of the chamber, where a large stone door stood. It was covered in the same intricate carvings, the symbols glowing faintly in the torchlight. Arin placed his hand on the door, feeling the cool stone beneath his fingers. He took a deep breath and pushed, the door creaking open to reveal a dark passage beyond. As he stepped through the doorway, the whispers began to fade, the voices growing quieter until they were nothing more than a distant memory. Arin knew that he had passed another test, that he was one step closer to his goal. The Chamber of Whispers had tried to break him, but he had emerged stronger, more determined than ever. The passage ahead was long and winding, but Arin felt a sense of anticipation building within him. He knew that the hardest challenges were yet to come, but he was ready to face them. With each step, he ventured deeper into the unknown, driven by a relentless desire to uncover the secrets of the Eternal Labyrinth and claim the artifact for himself. The adventure continued, and Arin's journey through the labyrinth was far from over. 5. The Guardian's Trial. Arin's footsteps echoed through the long, winding passage as he ventured deeper into the labyrinth. The air grew colder, the shadows more oppressive, and he could sense that a significant challenge lay ahead. His torch flickered, casting a feeble light that barely penetrated the darkness. After what felt like an eternity, the passage opened into a grand chamber, vast and imposing. The Guardian's Trial awaited. The chamber was an immense, circular room with a high, vaulted ceiling. Its walls were adorned with ancient runes and symbols, all glowing with an ethereal light. At the center of the room stood a massive stone pedestal, and atop it rested a gleaming artifact, the object of Arin's quest. But standing between him and the artifact was the Guardian. The Guardian was a formidable figure, a towering being of stone and magic, with eyes that glowed like molten lava. It wielded a massive sword, its blade shimmering with a dangerous light. As Arin stepped into the chamber, the Guardian's eyes locked onto him, and the air around them seemed to crackle with energy. "Who dares to seek the artifact?" the Guardian's voice boomed, echoing through the chamber. "Only those who prove their worth may claim it." Arin took a deep breath, his resolve firm. "I am Arin, and I seek the artifact to uncover the knowledge of the ancients and protect it from those who would misuse it." The Guardian's gaze seemed to pierce through Arin, assessing his intentions. After a moment, it nodded slightly. "Very well, Arin. You must face the trial to prove your worthiness. Prepare yourself." The ground beneath Arin's feet began to tremble, and the chamber shifted. The walls moved, forming an arena with obstacles and traps designed to test his skills. Arin readied himself, gripping his torch and drawing his sword. He knew that this trial would be the ultimate test of his courage, intelligence, and strength. The Guardian raised its sword, and with a swift motion, sent a wave of energy coursing through the arena. Arin dodged to the side, narrowly avoiding the blast. He sprinted forward, weaving through the obstacles, his mind focused on the task at hand. He had to stay alert and think quickly if he wanted to survive. The first challenge was a series of rotating blades, their edges glinting menacingly in the light. Arin timed his movements carefully, slipping through the gaps with agility and precision. He could feel the adrenaline coursing through his veins, his senses heightened. As he cleared the obstacle, he faced the next trial, a gauntlet of swinging pendulums. Arin watched the pendulums carefully, noting their rhythm. He moved with calculated precision, ducking and dodging as the massive weights swung past him. The sound of metal slicing through the air was deafening, but Arin remained focused. He knew that hesitation could be fatal. As he emerged from the gauntlet, Arin found himself facing the final challenge. The Guardian raised its sword once more, and the ground split open, revealing a chasm filled with swirling energy. A narrow bridge spanned the gap, but it was fraught with instability and danger. Arin knew he had to cross it to reach the artifact. With a deep breath, Arin stepped onto the bridge. The energy below crackled and surged, sending vibrations through the narrow path. He moved carefully, maintaining his balance and keeping his focus on the pedestal ahead. Each step was a test of his resolve, but he pressed on, determined to reach his goal. Finally, Arin reached the other side of the chasm, standing before the pedestal. The artifact glowed with a radiant light, its power palpable. He reached out and grasped it, feeling a surge of energy flow through him. The chamber seemed to resonate with his triumph, but the trial was not over yet. The Guardian stepped forward, its eyes glowing brighter. "You have shown great courage and skill, Arin. But the true test lies in your intentions. Will you use the artifact for good, or will you succumb to the temptation of power?" Arin met the Guardian's gaze, his voice steady. "I seek the artifact to preserve the knowledge of the ancients, to learn from it and ensure it is used wisely. I will not let its power corrupt me." The Guardian studied Arin for a long moment, then slowly lowered its sword. "You have proven your worthiness, Arin. The artifact is yours. Use it wisely and honor the legacy of those who came before you." With a deep sense of gratitude and relief, Arin bowed to the Guardian. He knew that his journey through the labyrinth had prepared him for this moment, testing his resolve and shaping his character. As he held the artifact, he felt a profound connection to the ancient civilization and their quest for knowledge. The Guardian stepped aside, and a hidden door opened at the far end of the chamber, revealing a path that led back to the surface. Arin knew that his adventure was far from over, but he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. With the artifact in hand, he began his journey back, determined to honor the ancient legacy and protect the knowledge he had gained. As he ascended through the labyrinth, Arin felt a sense of accomplishment and purpose. The Eternal Labyrinth had tested him in ways he had never imagined, but he had emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. The artifact's power would be a beacon of hope and knowledge, guiding him on his future adventures. The adventure continued, and Arin's journey through the labyrinth was but the beginning of a greater quest, one that would take him to new heights and depths, driven by the relentless pursuit of knowledge and the desire to make a difference in the world.